Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something totally fascinating and, honestly, pretty polarizing. We're objectively breaking down the playbook of the controversial internet personality, El Tamach. This is an intense, heavily debated approach to seduction, confidence, and human psychology. So let's just jump right into how it all works.
Okay, to really grasp this source material, we've got to define the absolute core of it all, war mode, or modo guerra. Now what is that? Basically, it's a philosophy of extreme self-improvement. It's all about building massive internal value and setting incredibly strict boundaries before you even think about engaging with anyone else. Oh, and a quick note on the vocabulary you'll hear. Throughout his content, El Tamach addresses his male followers as compas, which is like saying bros, and he refers to women as moras. It's this very informal, colloquial language, and it perfectly sets the tone for a playbook that's built around unfiltered social survival.
So here's our roadmap for this playbook. We'll start with the war mode philosophy, move on to conversational hierarchy, generating emotion versus information, conflict as a stimulus, the art of mystery, and finally we'll wrap up with lessons of dependency.
Section 1. War Mode Philosophy. Building Value First.
The source material is absolutely adamant about this. Before any conversational tactic can even begin to work, you literally have to establish your own self-worth. This whole philosophy dictates extreme self-reliance. We're talking about working on yourself, building strict physical and mental discipline, and flat out refusing to be used or walked all over. According to the playbook, if you're out there seeking external validation or constantly trying to please others at your own expense, well, you've already lost the game.
Moving on to Section 2, Conversational Hierarchy, Establishing Position.
In this framework, literally every social interaction is viewed as a subconscious test of status. And the fundamental rule is this: the king does not need to say he is the king. I mean, think about it. The playbook points out that overtly trying to sell yourself, bragging about your money, your car, or your gym routine, that actually signals low hierarchy. It shows you desperately need that other person to be impressed by you. True status, according to this, is stepping back and letting them discover your value naturally.
All right, Section 3, Generate Emotion, not information. The goal of interaction. So the goal of an interaction here isn't to just swap logical data like you're in some boring job interview. Contrast your standard dating advice, asking stuff like, "So, what do you do for work?" with the playbook's approach, which is more like, "Who is your biggest rival at the office?" See the difference? By tapping into universal human themes like competition or ambition, you instantly spark a stimulating response. You're shifting the whole dynamic from a dry exchange of facts to a dynamic exchange of feelings.
And that brings us to an absolutely crucial point. Do not generate conversation, generate emotion. The source asserts that attraction and interest are driven entirely by what someone feels right there in the present moment. Think about your own life. People remember exactly how you made them feel, right? They don't usually remember the logical checklist or the biographical facts you rattled off.
Section 4. Conflict as a Stimulus. Subverting Agreement. Now this right here is a massive subversion of standard relationship advice. Constantly agreeing with someone just to please them? The playbook views that as incredibly boring. It's a signal that you lack a backbone. The alternative? Respectful debate. Holding your ground confidently on a topic actually creates this engaging push and pull dynamic. It commands respect, and it keeps the whole interaction highly stimulating.
Section 5. The Art of Mystery. Precision over volume. To strike this kind of balance, the source explains that you absolutely must listen way more than you speak. Over-talking, it totally destroys your mystique and reveals a desperate need for validation. Instead, you've got to use precision. Drop a calculated question, maybe a provocative thought, and then just pull back. Let them do the talking while you act as the director. You are the one maintaining total control of the interaction.
So why is this kind of verbal mastery so important? Well, it comes down to a famous Spanish idiom featured in the source material. Words kill looks, words kill money. Or in Spanish, verbo mata carita, verbo mata billete. The playbook essentially frames communication skills as the ultimate equalizer. It argues that your words are way more powerful than innate physical attractiveness or wealth, and that mastering this opens doors everywhere, in dating, in tough business negotiations, and just across social circles in general.
Section 6, Lessons of Dependency, a Cautionary Tale.
Now, what actually happens when you ignore these rules and fail to set boundaries? The source provides a pretty harsh reality check through a literal 13-year timeline submitted by a female follower. Get this. In year 1, a woman allows a man with nothing but a bag of clothes to move in. completely ignoring her own boundaries to support him. Fast forward to year 6, and major conflict forces them apart, but they're still entangled. Then in year 9, she discovers he's actually cheating, acting as a subordinate lover for a married woman. It takes a full 13 years for her to finally block him. It's a tough story, but it perfectly illustrates the danger. Failing to enforce your boundaries can lead to a massive, draining cycle of manipulation.
And that brings us to the ultimate, rather harsh lesson from the material. Simping is giving without receiving, believing that one day it will change. The source, neutrally but very firmly, concludes that giving endlessly to someone who doesn't respect you, that's not an act of pure love. It's actually a destructive addiction to validation. True respect requires holding back your resources until they are genuinely earned by the other person.
So take a moment and look at the relationships in your own world right now, whether they're romantic, professional, or just social. Where in your life are you seeking external validation instead of setting firm boundaries? Are you generating emotion, or are you just giving away information? Because whether you agree with this controversial playbook or not, its core demand is pretty undeniable. Your value has to be built and protected by you alone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll catch you in the next explainer.